Hi, this is Dr. Cook. In this video, I'm going to cover a little bit about APA in terms of citations and the reference page for the critical analysis essay. You should have already looked at the APA reference materials that are found on D2L, and the formatting videos will tell you how to set up the page in terms of font and style. And the other video will teach you how to set up the title page and the reference page. When in doubt, look at those videos again and then look at the sample papers that are found on D2L because these are put in APA 7 format. But for now, I would like to just talk a little bit about how to use citations in your paper. So there were basically two sources that I assigned for this paper. The first one was an article called Physicians Get Addicted To, and the second one was a TED Med video called The Harm Reduction Model of Drug Addiction Treatment. So what I did was to first put the information that we know on this particular sheet, because this is what we're going to then pull into our references page. Let's look at the video first. Remember, when it gets to the reference page, you are going to put everything in alphabetical order. But we do have a TED Talk video, so if you then go to the resource on D2L for references page and scroll down to the bottom, you see some examples of videos. And you really have two examples for TED Talk. One of them is a TED Talk found on a YouTube video, and the other one is published on the TED site itself. So pulling up our video here, this is definitely not YouTube. So we already know now we're going to have to use the second format that we're actually using, the TED site. That being said, I would like to copy this URL because we're going to have to put the URL onto our references page. So simply click in there, highlight, copy, and then again, I've pasted it directly here for now. Once again, let's go back to our reference page and now see what's the information that we need to put on the reference page itself. So since this is from TED itself and not a YouTube video, we are going to put then the last name, first initial of the speaker. In this case, it is Mark Tyndall. And you're going to put the year and the month, if the month is there. And then we type in the name of the article. This time it's written like a sentence, and it's also in italics. So this is a little bit different because it is a video. We are going to put it in italics. After the title, in brackets, you're going to put the word video, and then you're going to put a period. So this is the information that you should have so far. We have our last name, first initial, and a period. We then have our year, comma, and November. And where did I get November from? If you scroll down a little bit further, you will see TED Med 2017 November. So when the month is given, we do want to put the month on our references page. Next comes the title, written like a sentence, so only the first letter capitalized. Now remember, if there is a colon in between or other punctuation, then you would capitalize the first word after the punctuation. Because it is a video title, we are going to put it in italics. Then we have our bracket. Please don't use parentheses, make sure you use a bracket. We have the word video, end bracket, and then a period. So the way I always teach it is when to know the difference between when do you put a period or a comma. After every section you put a period. So this is the name section, period. This is the date section, period. This is the video and the title section, period. So let's now go back to the reference page and see what comes next. So we have our name, we have the date, we have the title, we have video. So next we want to put where it's from, TED conferences, and it'll say on there. And lastly, the URL. So it's a little bit different this year. You don't put retrieve from, you just simply put the URL, and we've already copied the URL onto our sheet. So in this case, it's not TED conferences, it is TED Med. And I would write TED Med exactly the way it is written here. So I've copied and pasted the information. Here we have TED Med, and then lastly the URL. Because the URL is long, it is going to not fit on the same line. It will go down like this. And you want to make sure that you do choose what we call the hanging indent on the references page. So how you do that, if you haven't done it already, is you simply click the information, go to paragraph, and then choose under special hanging. And what that will do is that will indent. The good thing is when you do the next reference, it will do the same thing and make a hanging indent. All right, but in this case we're going to have to go backwards because the other reference that we're going to put on there is for Sam Quinones, and Q then comes before T in the alphabet, and everything is alphabetical. We now have to figure out how we are going to go about putting on the article. And so the first thing we have to figure out is this a database article or not? And obviously this is not a database article, and The Atlantic is a magazine. Now if you're unsure, then you can always Google what The Atlantic is and it'll tell you it's a magazine. And it's a magazine that comes in two formats, both print and online. So let's kind of scroll down here to see where we have some information. There we have magazine. Magazine article. Now we don't have a DOI on here because this is taken off of the internet. So here we find something that says magazine article, no DOI with URL. So that looks like this could be something. The New Yorker, that's a magazine that is also in print and online. It's very similar to The Atlantic. So what you have to do is you have to find the source that kind of matches what yours is. So let's go with this one for now, and we see the information here. We have the author, the date, the title, the source, the volume. There's nothing because it's online. Issue, nothing. Pages, no page numbers, and we do have a URL. So I'm going to go back to what I have. We have the title, the name of the author, the date, the name of the magazine. What we're missing is the source. So let's see, because we're going to have to find a URL, let's see if we can find the source. So if we type in Physicians Get Addicted To, put the name of the author and put the name of the magazine, we can then find where it is. So all of these seem to be theatlantic.com. So let's just take this first one. We have The Atlantic, and we want to double check. There's the author's name, May 2019, and here is the text. So this is the same text that you have. So I feel confident that we can actually use this information. So right now, let's just copy that, and I'm going to paste that back onto my sheet. And I'm going to take out the word source because that's our source. And that's our URL. All right. So now we just have to plug in the information on the references page. So here's our example. So it's basically the same format. So once you know this format, you're just repeating it and you're just changing some things around here. But we have the last name, first initial, and you have your year and the month. You have then the title written like a sentence, and then we have the name of the magazine. All right, so let's put that on there now. So I put this information in already for you. There's our last name of the author, comma, first initial, and a period. Then we have our year, 2019, comma, and then the month. Close it with the parentheses and a period. Again, since this is the date section, we close it with a period. Then we have our title, Physicians Get Addicted To. In this case, it is written lowercase, like a sentence, except for physicians. And because this is a magazine article, this does not get in italics. So this is the one little difference you have to pay attention to. The video title goes in italics, and you're not going to have those too often, but you do need to know the difference of when do you put the title of the video or article in italics. Videos go in italics, the article is not italicized. Our source, however, the name of the magazine, The Atlantic, does go in italics. So let's go back. The only thing that's really left to do is to put in our URL. So here's what the final should look like. We have our URL in there, and of course we still have our hanging indent. The only thing that we need to do is to make sure it's in alphabetical order. And so what I'm going to do is to simply cut it and then paste it, and we take out the extra space. So now we have a properly formatted reference page. We have our article with a URL, and we have our TED Med talk.